Welcome back to Treasures from the Purans, a treasure chest of fascinating stories from the Puran genre of Indian literature. The curated stories in this series are from Srimad Devi Bhagavatam, which I have adapted for this podcast. I'm Valentina Trivedi, bringing you treasures from the Purans. Srimad Bhagavatam Punyam Nanakhyan Kavanvitam Dvaipayanamukhodbhutam Panchalakshana Sanyutam Shrinvatam Sarvapapagnam Shubhadam Sukhadam Tatha Itihasamidam Punyam Kirtitam Muni Sattamaha. Anybody who hears this Srimad Bhagavatam, endowed with 5 characteristics and filled with various anecdotes that came out of the mouth of Vyasa, finds all his sins destroyed and attains peace and blessedness. O Munis, this holy history has thus been described to you. In the last episode, you heard how Brihaspati, the guru of the Devatas, went to the Daityas in the guise of their guru Shukracharya, while the real Shukracharya was away doing severe penance to appease Shiva. The Daityas believed the fake guru to be the real one and were relieved of the fear of the Devatas. Let's see what happens next. Kim Vishnu Kim Shivo Brahma Magava Kim Brahaspati Dehavan Prabhavatyev Vikarah Sanyutah Sada. Sage Vyas said, O king, even if he is Indra, Brihaspati, Brahma, Vishnu or Mahesh, anyone who has a body will have ahankar or ego and thus is susceptible to vices like covetousness and avarice. Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh or Shiva too are attached to sensual objects and thus not beyond committing sinful acts. Sages say that no one born of the 3 qualities of sattva, rajas and tamas can get rid of passions. That is the nature of this world. As you know, Vishnu himself sometimes practices asceticisms, sometimes full of youth and fond of Leela, enjoys the company of Lakshmi in Vaikuntha. Sometimes he is the ocean of mercy, fighting deadly battles with demons and being severely hit by their arrows. Sometimes he is victorious, and sometimes he loses due to the irony of Kal, which is fate or time, which lead to him experiencing pleasure or pain. Sometimes, drawing all the worlds into his belly, Vishnu goes into deep yogic sleep while resting on the coils of the 1,000-headed serpent Shesh, till he is awakened by Prakriti again. So all the gods, the sages, and everyone else live up to the limit of their ordained time, and when the time for pralaya or universal dissolution ends, this universe, moving and unmoving, comes into existence again. Again, in due course, the gods assume bodies and get afflicted by all the passions as ordained. So don't be astonished, O king. This world is always accompanied by lust, anger, etc. Chandra, the moon god, stole away the wife of his guru Brihaspati, and Brihaspati himself stole away the wife of his younger brothers. People who are free from these passions are very rare. He who is afraid of being enmeshed in the passions of this world does not marry, and thus, being free of attachment to worldly objects, roams free and fearless. The householder can never expect to obtain freedom. Therefore, those who want to be free should relinquish the idea of stability of the world and worship the eternal Mother, who is Sat Chit Anand personified. Intelligent people worship her, overcome the bonds of the three gunas, and attain freedom. King Janmeja said, "What then did Brihaspati, the guru of the Devatas, do in the guise of Shukracharya? And when did the real Shukracharya come there? O Muni, please tell me all this." Sage Vyas said, "Then listen, O king. The Daityas placed implicit faith in Brihaspati, who had arrived in the guise of their guru Shukracharya. They eagerly awaited learning about the new knowledge which would make them defeat the Devatas. As we learnt in the last episode, Shukracharya had promised to live with Indra's daughter Jayanti for 10 years without being visible to anyone. At the end of that period, Shukracharya said to Jayanti, "O beautiful one, 10 years are over today. Please take our sons to the shelter of the gods. My fearful disciples await my return, and I shall go to them now." Jayanti replied, "So be it. I don't want to destroy your dharma." When Shukracharya reached the abode of the Daityas, he was astonished to see Brihaspati sitting there preaching the Daityas against killing and revenge. "O enemies of the gods," Brihaspati was saying, "non-killing is the highest virtue. Even your enemies ought never to be killed." He was also speaking against the Vedas. Shukracharya realized that his disciples had been duped. "This is utterly astonishing," he thought. "The Guru of the Devatas, who is the promulgator of all religious scriptures and whose word is accepted as final on such matters, is expounding the doctrines of the atheists? When Brihaspati can do this, compelled by covetousness, what can be said of those whose minds are not pure and intelligence not as sharp? The Devaguru is acting like a rogue, and my disciples are under the spell of his magic." He went up to them and said, "This vain and villainous Brihaspati has assumed my form to cheat you. Don't believe his words. He serves the interests of the gods. You are my disciples. Listen to me." The Daityas were confounded to see two forms of their guru. As they wondered what to do, Brihaspati told them, "This man is Devaguru Brihaspati. He has come here in my guise to cheat you and serve the purpose of the Devatas. I am teaching you the knowledge I have acquired from Shiva, with the help of which you will be victorious in the battle with the Devatas." Shukracharya tried his best to make the Daityas see the truth, but as is often the case, the spell of falsehood was too powerful. "Dashavarshani satatamayam nah shasti bhagavah gaccha tvam kuhako bhasi nasmakam gururpyut." The Daityas said, "After returning from his penance, this man has been teaching us for 10 years continuously. He is our Guru Shukracharya. You are a charlatan. Go away." They said this repeatedly till an infuriated Shukracharya cursed them. "As you refuse to heed my words and continue to be deluded by the words of this fake Guru, you will lose your knowledge and face defeat." So saying, he left in anger. Brihaspati's objective had been achieved. Assuming his real appearance, he returned to Devalok, where he told Indra, "I have succeeded in my mission. The Daityas have been cursed by their own Guru and are helpless now. This is the right time to wage war against them." Indra was delighted to hear this and promptly held a council with his ministers on strategies of battling the Daityas. Very soon, the Devatas marched out to fight the Daityas. Witnessing this rapid turn of events and realizing their folly, the Daityas were left lamenting after the departure of Brihaspati. To set things right, they decided to go to Shukracharya and ask for forgiveness. They requested Prahlad to lead them. They bowed down at Shukracharya's feet and asked him to forgive their folly. With his eyes blazing red with anger, Shukracharya burst out, "I warned you that you were being cheated by the Maya of Brihaspati. I only had your welfare at heart. But you insulted me. Now you will definitely have to bear the effects of that karma. You are vitiated from the path of your own welfare. Go to that cheat now, who works only for the welfare of the Devatas." Hearing this, Prahlad stepped forward and spoke with folded hands. "O Guru," he said, "we are your disciples and we have come to you in great distress. You know our hearts are devoted to you alone. Our offense was committed in ignorance. Please relinquish your anger and accept us. Sages say that the anger of saints does not last long. If you continue to remain angry with us, we will be overpowered with grief and will return to Patal." On hearing Prahlad's impassioned plea, Shukracharya cooled down and replied, "You are my Yajmans. I will certainly protect you all by my infallible mantra power. I am going to tell you what Brahma once told me. So listen carefully. Avashyam bhavino bhavaah prabhavanti shubha devam na chanyatha kartum kshamah koapi dharatale. Whatever is inevitable must come to pass, be it auspicious or inauspicious. No one in this world is able to go against the current of fate. When your time to enjoy the sovereignty and splendor of Trailokya or the three worlds had come, you had enjoyed all the wealth and power it had brought. You had attacked the Devatas and, helped by fate or Kal, you had been able to defeat them and ruled for a full 10 yugas. Under the influence of Kal, you are now deprived of strength. Dear listener, the Sanskrit word Kal does not just mean linear time, but also the cyclical nature of existence. So you will suffer defeat at the hands of the Devatas and will have to go down to Patal. You will regain power in the Savarnik Manvantar, when Bali, the grandson of Prahlad, will come into your family. He will conquer and rule the three worlds, and his name and fame will spread far and wide. He is currently invisible and passing his time quietly. When Vishnu had incarnated as Vaman and stole the kingdom of the Daitya king Bali, he told Bali, "I have taken away your kingdom by pretext to serve the purpose of the Devatas. You will rule here again in the coming Savarnik Manvantar." It is said that being afraid of Indra, Bali was staying by himself in the form of an ass. One day, on seeing him thus, Indra inquired about it. "O Lord of the Daityas," he said, "you once ruled over the entire world. Don't you feel ashamed to be in the body of an ass now?" Bali replied, "There is nothing to be ashamed of. When the all-powerful Vishnu can assume the fish and the tortoise incarnations, there is nothing unusual about my assuming this form because of the force of Kal. When you had murdered a Brahmin, you too had stayed hidden amidst the lotuses in the Manas lake. Similarly, as I am distressed today, I am staying in the form of an ass. O Indra, we are all under the influence of Kal. Both Indra and Bali were enlightened by this conversation and went their separate ways. "O Lord of the Daityas," said Shukracharya, "I have narrated the story to make you realize how powerful Kal is." Dear listener, once again I'd like to tell you that the Sanskrit word Kal does not just mean linear time, but also the cyclical nature of existence. कात्यायनी महामाये भवानी भुवनेश्वरी संसारसागरे मग्नं मामुद्धर कृपामयी ब्रह्म विष्णु शिवाराध्ये प्रसीद जगदम्बिके मनो अभिलषितं देवी वरं देहि नमोऽस्तु ते।